Hi there. Well, we are on a wild camp. It might not look at it initially, but I've been walking from home along some of my local roads. I was going to talk to you down by the roadside, but it was so noisy. I've come into, it's like a public garden. I think it's called Winfell Gardens. It's a lot quieter in here and a lot easier to talk. Now this camp nearly didn't come about. It's been on the calendar 3 times in October, and it got knocked off 3 times by other things that cropped up. October is a busy time for beer festivals, music festivals, all sorts. So I said to my wife, well, I'll have to go on a Sunday. That's the only available day. I haven't camped on a Sunday for as long as I can remember. I'm retired, so I choose to go out when it's a lot quieter midweek, and I get the hills to myself. I dare say I'm going to have to share them today. It's the Sunday end of October. It's extremely mild. It had started raining, but I didn't want to put waterproofs on because I'm too hot as it is. And I think, yeah, we changed the clocks last night, so it'll probably be dark in a couple of hours at 4-5 o'clock-ish. Now, like I say, I usually plan my camps way ahead, and I had planned to camp up high up the Derwent Valley. Drove out to Wreckiet, parked at Fairholmes, and found that the road up the west side of Derwent and Houndkirk is shut. It's shut for cars, bikers and walkers. Nobody's allowed up that west side of the reservoir. That's the left hand side. It's due to the fact that there's a disease in the larch trees, and they're basically cutting down all the larch trees, and it might be for months. So I didn't want to park at Langset car park and walk over from that side, because I know they're charging there, and I don't know what would happen if you left your car overnight in there. So I abandoned that idea, and then I thought I'd head up onto Kinder Scout. Now the snake's been shut for 4 weeks. They are looking at the landslide that happened in February, not actually repairing it, just looking at it. So they spent 4 weeks looking at it. The road was open, but there is limited parking, and with it being a Sunday, I thought I might not be able to park up there. So I ummed and ahed, and I thought, I know what, I'll go for a local wild camp. So I'm heading just up on my local hills, Houndkirk, that's the area I'm heading to. I have camped up there before, not for about 2 or 3 years, but I've got a lovely little campsite up there. So I thought we'd have a basic camp. I've actually brought all my winter gear. I thought it'll be, it's the first time I've used it this year. It'll be a good check, make sure everything works, see if there is room for improvement. So I have got quite a weight on my back. I weighed it before I came out. I've got everything in but water, that's already up there, and I think I'm about 13 kilogram, which is 26. It's got to be about 30 pound, probably just over 30 pound. But I've got a lot of camera gear, and I've got my food in. But it's surprising how much it weighs compared to summer gear. From my house to where we're camping is about 5 miles, so it's not a bad walk. It's quite an enjoyable one. So hopefully the weather will stay fine. There was no forecast of rain. And as we leave here, we'll leave the suburbs of Sheffield and head up open countryside and then onto the hills above Sheffield. So I'll see you on the way up. See you then. As I left that garden where I was talking to you, it absolutely bombed it down. luckily there were some massive trees and I sheltered under them for half an hour. But I thought if I don't get going, I'll be putting my tent up in the dark. So it did abate a bit and I set off. But this was not forecast. I've looked at my phone, no rain today. And look at it, absolutely poured down. Anyway, I'm ready to walk through the wet heather now with my waterproofs on. Look at this for a view. You've got the whole of the west side of Sheffield laid out in front of you. Dore and Totley down here, west of Sheffield, and you can see as far as Rotherham, bloody miles. I had to think it were pouring down with rain an hour ago. Now the sun's come out. Very changeable. Well, you probably saw the picture disappear there of me stood on the rock. That was my tripod blowing over with my GoPro on, which then hit the rock. And it's broken, I assume it's the lens cover, which hopefully should be replaceable. Luckily, I do have another camera. These things are set to try us. That's my poor GoPro. As you can see, when it blew over, the lens cover hit the rock and it shattered it. Looks a right mess. I'll carry on filming with it today, hopefully, and then should be able to get a replacement one. But it certainly looks a mess. Pleased to say I've got my Sulu pitched before the light goes. See, I've got a nice location overlooking the city of Sheffield in the distance. Can just make out headlights on cars, so I reckon another hour, half an hour or so it'll have gone dark. That's the dark nights for us for the next 4 or 5 months or so. I'll try and show you my sort of winter camping gear setup now briefly. This will be the gear that I'm going to use from now through till probably next March. Probably won't use a gas stove, so that's my Whisky stove, liquid fuel. You can see the bottle behind. So that is the stove I would use in winter. If it were mild, I might get away with gas. I've also brought a little gas stove with me. I'd use the Whisky outside and then the gas stove if I want to make a drink inside at night. So basically I've got a foil, I think that's an old windscreen cover that. I've got an X-Bed down mat, 7 that, so that gives me plenty of insulation. It's a Rab Ladaka bag, 20 years old. You ain't gonna get one of them now. You might get one second hand, but that's my winter bag. There is a new pillar up there. Cedar Summit Zeros or something like that. I can't remember. It's about the only new thing I've bought. As we come down, Exped down booties. They are great. They've got like a down inside to them and a waterproof outer. So once I take my boots off, I can wear them. If I want to go outside, I can, because you've got the waterproof outer. Again, discontinued, you won't get them. Hot water bottle, that is a new little one. It's only 1 litre. I thought I'd try it, and I thought it would be time to change my other one. We all know what that is. Call of nature. Saves going outside at night. We'll look at that later. Wee dram. While we're here, we'll look at the food. There's a bag full of food and everything there. Basically me breakfast and little gas stove. So let's see what we're having tonight. Tonight, mashed potato, peas and a nice bit of ribeye. There's a soup knocking about in there somewhere, and there's a steam pudding there. So quite basic but very tasty, filling food, and I will be cooking that on my whisper light in the dark, I reckon. We'll see how we go at that. But that is basically what will be my winter setup. I'll use that probably from now through till probably March time, something like that. Looks a bit cluttered and a bit messy, but I just wanted to get this bit filmed before the light all went. Just lighting the whisper light, something you perhaps didn't ought to do in a tent. That's why I've got it outside. The beauty of the whisper light, sort of liquid fuel stove, it will burn when it is really cold, where gas won't. I've had some gas cylinders and there's hardly anything coming out when it's cold, and they're probably half full. Where this, it could be icy or snowy out there, that will burn. So we'll get some water on, and that'll do for my soup. That's what I'm going to have first. Right, we've got a lot happening at the moment. So I've just warmed the peas up slightly. I've cut all the potatoes, they're ready to boil, ready for mashing. So we've got the steak to look at now. So we're going to season that, bit of salt and pepper. Potatoes can come off and sit there. And then I think we'll get the steak on. That's going to take a bit of sizzling up, that. But got my plate ready, so it's just a matter of slowly working your way through the 3 parts of this meal. So the steak sizzling there, peas are nice and warm, I think we can say that potatoes done. That'll be ready for mashing. Well, that's my steak dinner. And I must admit, I think when I've eaten that, I'm going to be rather full. But, yeah, nice bit of steak there. As you can see, I've got my... But it's actually chocolate, sponge and custard on the go. I've been trying to simmer them, but it's not easy with the whisper light. So I'm tending to turn it on and then turn it off and just leave it. Whisper light ain't very good with simmering. It tends to be all or nothing. But that should be ready in about 5 minutes, and I think once I've had that, I'll have had enough. I'm pleased to say my chocolate sponge and custard worked out well. Yeah, take about 20 minutes, but you're not doing a lot else, you might as well be cooking something nice. More washing up, I'm afraid, though. Ah well. From where I am, I can look over to Houndkirk Road. That runs between Foxhouse and the Norfolk Arms. And all the time I've been here, there's been motorbikes and Land Rovers backwards and forwards. It is allowed, they are allowed to do that. But I kept hearing this horn going and then banging and popping. Put my head up and had a look outside the tent and see what I assume is a vehicle on fire. Can't believe it. It's probably about half a mile, something like that away, but you don't expect to see a car on fire in the middle of the moors. Alright, it's nearly November the 5th. It could be a bonfire and people setting off fireworks. But there was a car horn, so it looked like a vehicle on fire in the middle of the moors. I'll have to see. What I might do tomorrow morning is walk over that way and see if we can see anything. Just my curiosity. I wonder what it is. But there was definitely a horn blowing. If I'd have got a better camera, I could probably have zoomed in a lot better and I actually seen what it was. But I'm a bit limited with what cameras I got. But we might have a look in the morning. Now, if you remember, last camp we were on, I think it were Bullstones. I did mention about getting older and perhaps not feeling as fit as I should be to get to the places I want to go on camp. Anyway, I must admit, we've definitely been walking a lot more. Both me and my wife, rather than drive into town, we've walked into town. Rather than, say, you're going to the dentist or the shops, we've walked. It is paying off, and I feel a lot better as well. I feel fitter. Now, I brought a new whisky with me today. See, no expense spared. If you can see that, that is it. It's from the Isle of Arran. It's called, well, there's 2 distilleries on the Isle of Arran. One is at Loch Rhianza and the other one is at Lag. And I think the one at Loch Rhianza, they've started making a new line of whiskies from, I think it was about 2019. Now, this one certainly attracted me for a few reasons. Number one, it's a sherry cask. And I just love sherry cask whiskey. Probably my favourite is Aberlour, a Speyside one. I could bring that each time, but I thought, no, must try something different. Now, Isle of Arran, I must admit, it has got some far-off memories. I could say I did my first proper camp Yeah, not sort of wild camp, but my first camp on the Isle of Arran. It was a long time ago. It was 56 years ago. It was with the Scouts. I was 11 years old, joined the Scouts, and the first summer camp was to the Isle of Arran. So at that young age, parents sent you off, and we had 2 weeks camp on the Isle of Arran. And like so many people, I suppose 11-year-old, that sowed the seed of camping. There's quite a few other wild camping YouTubers, and when they actually talk about themselves and how did you get interested in wild camping, they were in the Scouts. And I think so many of us had our first taste of camping in the Scouts, and we're still doing it 50 odd years later. But back to the whiskey now. So this one is it's Arran Sherry Cask, the Bodega. Now the Bodega means wine shop in Spanish. A lot of whiskies are matured, say for about 8 to 10 years in a bourbon or oak cask, and then the last couple of years they put in a sherry cask. This one is basically put in it's a 250 litre hogshead sherry cask, and it spends all its maturation time in the sherry cask. Now it is what they call an NAS, non-age statement. A lot of malts will be 10, 12, 15, 18 years. This has got a non-age statement on it, and I don't really know how long. People say probably about 7 or 9 years. Why they don't put it on the bottle, I don't know. But we're going to taste it soon. Oh, this smells wonderful. But one thing I mentioned, it's cask strength. So a lot of whiskies will be 40% or 43 or 46. This is, if I can remember, 55.8%. So that is what they call cask strength. So it's very strong. It's ideal for lightweight camping. You don't have to bring so much of it. You can also add a little bit of water. It will alter the flavour. But straight away you can smell, yeah, the sherry hits you straight away if you think all its time in a sherry cask. But a lot of probably like dried fruits and that. Very fruity, a bit fruit, Christmas cakey, something like that. A lot of dried fruits. Now for the taste. I think straight away you can taste a strong alcohol taste, nearly 56%. But it's very, yeah, to me I can taste the sherry, but there's also chocolate there, and perhaps a bit of ginger. So there's a lot of complex flavours there. It is very smooth. And very warming as well, very smooth. And it has got a bit of an aftertaste of, you sort of feel like chocolate. There's like a chocolatey taste coming through. Now, we cannot talk about whiskey all night. It is a wild camp at the end of the day. So yeah, I've brought all my winter gear. Yeah, I think it's about 10 degrees out there, so it's certainly not required. But it was it's good to get it all out, get my Sulu out, try it all out, make sure everything's okay, and look to ways to improve things. And I can't think of any. Like I say, I've used all this gear since 2016. I've no great reason to change anything. Yeah, I could go a bit lighter. That would be good. But most bits I need to be comfortable and warm. I could... My sleeping bag's the oldest, 20-year-old, this Ladaka. I think it's about 1,700 grams, so it is. It might be 1,800 grams, so it is heavy. But to change it would cost a lot of money. I probably am a cold sleeper, so I do need a warm sleeping bag, and it could be £500 plus to replace it. And what would I be saving? I get a bit lighter, a bit more efficient, and I might save 200 or 300 grams. Then you have to think, is it worth it for all that money? Shall I just get, like I say, put up with the weight, get used to carrying the weight? Wow. I think this, it improves by glass. Each glass you have, it just tastes better and better. Oh, that's it. It's all gone. The last of the whiskey. It's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing. I measured so much into there, and I said to myself, once you've drunk that, you've had enough. So that's it. That's my ration. It'll be cocoa after this. So I'll bid you good night. I'll see you in the morning, and hopefully it will be a nice day and no rain. It's no rain forecast, but that is what they said today, and it poured it down. But hopefully tomorrow will be a nice day. So good night. I'll see you in the morning. Thought I'd have a drink of hot chocolate to finish off with. I could have boiled some water on the little gas stove I brought, but I just love firing up this whisper light. Just let it get up to temperature, and then we'll open it up. I'll move my plastic cup away. Definitely not tent friendly. Just opening it up. But it'll boil that water in no time. Well, makes a very nice drink. It is unbelievably warm for this time of year. Probably 10 degrees, I'm guessing. And so still. Probably a night where you get a lot of condensation, so I could nearly sleep with the door open, or at least really ventilate the tent. Otherwise, I think I'll get quite a bit of condensation. But it's like a summer's evening in a way. You know, it's not that hot, but it is so calm. Anyway, we'll enjoy this cocoa. We'll see you in the morning. Nice to be able to sit outside, have your breakfast, bit more comfortable. That's golden syrup, been in my pocket warming. So what I'm going to do, I've got quite a bit of my gear packed up. I've just got the tent to drop, last few bits in. I'd rather head back home that way. I'm curious to know what that fire was I saw last night. So I think if we follow this path, like a ridge path all the way round, we should hit Houndkirk Road, and then hopefully I'll satisfy my curiosity and see what the fire was, whether it was just somebody having a bonfire in the middle of the moors, or it was a car on fire. See what we find. But it'll be a nice walk, and it'll stretch my legs with my full pack a little bit further. So we'll see you when we're all packed up. Everything packed away, little bit breezy, but the Sulu is so easy. Just drop it down, shove it in a stuff sack, couldn't be easier. So what we're going to do now, behind me, not that you can see it, is Houndkirk Road, and that is where I saw the fire last night and heard the bangs and the car alarm. You won't be able to see, I don't think. There's a bit of green grass. I think there's a bit of a pull in there, and I think I can see something there. No idea what. So we're going to head over that way. I think there's a path, otherwise we'll go through the heather and just see what we can find. I'm just curious. I want to know what it was. So I'll see you on the path on the way up to there. So this is what we saw burning last night. Looks a right mess, doesn't it? Difficult to say what it is. We can see the alloys have literally melted away. And looking back down Houndkirk, you can see it's just been, I suppose, abandoned and set on fire. If you can see that under the charred writing, Range Rover, I think. Oh, definitely I bet it's a Range Rover. And why would you burn a Range Rover out? A couple of ladies were here before me, and they reported it to the police, so I know it's all properly reported and that, and they might come and have a look in case it's been used in any crime. Otherwise, I suppose it's just somebody has to take it away as scrap. You don't realise there's not much left. I mean, if you look down there, it's actually melted the alloy wheels. It did look quite a fire when I saw it on the horizon last night. Well, I think we'll leave it, and it's all been looked after, and we'll head off down Houndkirk Road back to Sheffield. Well, you go out on these wild camps and something always happens. Just something out of the ordinary happens on every camp. Mind you, I've never had a burnt out car before. Probably walked a few extra miles today, taking the diversion to have a look, but I had to find out what it was. I didn't know if it was a bonfire or what. At least we know now. Anyway, we're going to leave Houndkirk Road, which is this track behind me, and head off down another track straight downhill, and that will get me onto Hathersage Road, and then from there it's a straightforward walk home. But yep, another good camp. So where are we going next? I'm not sure. I'm fancying the northern edge of Kinder or Bleaklow. Crowstones I was thinking, probably not quite Bleaklow, but we'll have to see, depends what roads are open, etc. But I'm sure we'll find somewhere. So if I could thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye then.